First thing we're going to have to do is figure out which rotation this bit right here is going, either counterclockwise or clockwise. Okay, so it's going this way. And here's what we got to do. This right here, this is the pattern that I made. Okay, here's what I did. Before I used this piece of 1/4 inch plywood, this is 1/4 inch Luan. Before I did that, I put this up against my piece of wood. All right, and then I made sure that on this hinge, show you this up close, I made sure on this hinge that you have to make your pattern so that it matches this area right here. And this would be the edge right here, down here. Right down here. And that's where I got this, the idea for this hinge mortising jig. See how it fits in there? Okay, this radius right here, I smoothed that out after I used the bandsaw. I smoothed it out with this, a little drum sander. And this is just one that I made, or that I got at a box store, a hardware / lumber store, and all it is a mandrel right here, and then it has a rubber drum inside, right inside there. And then this sleeve on the outside fits over the rubber drum. Now, there are a lot of lumber stores / box stores / lumber places where you can get these. And these drums have replacements. So if one wears out, you can just get a different one. This one happens to be about 3/4 of an inch. All right. So that's how I smoothed this area after I traced it. Notice, first of all, that I put a center line first, right there. And then I measured half of this hinge after I found the center line. And then I measured the other half. And I came up with 2 halves. All right. And I marked it on this piece of wood. Now here you can see the other line that I marked. And I made sure that this piece of wood was square, that the edges were square. With a small square like this. So I measured the hinge and made this so that it's fairly accurate. It's not completely accurate, but it's fairly accurate. And you have to consider that here is the beginning. Just a minute. Here is the beginning of the edge of this hinge right here. Because the barrel is a lot bigger in diameter than the thickness of the hinge. And this is the thickness of the hinge right here. And you notice that this area here is very narrow, and over here on this side it's very thick. So in order to get an accurate measurement, you have to open it up a little bit so that this area here is even all the way crossed, from here to this edge all the way over to this edge. Then you can get an accurate measurement. This hinge happens to be about, if you open it up like this, it happens to be about 1/4 of an inch. A lot of hinges are like that. Also, how do they measure the width of the hinge? On your package, it's going to tell you how big this hinge is. And in this case, this one is 3.5. And that is enough for a average door. Now this door, you have to consider the weight of the door. This door that I'm going to use this on is a hollow core door, and it's an interior door. It's basically the cheapest one they had. And so I'm going to use just 2 hinges. But in the package that I got, there were 3 hinges for each door, plus a package of screws. So remember that you have to go from the edge, this edge over here, and measure to this edge to get the width of your pattern. That's what I did. Okay, now I've got this drill bits, this router bit set up in here, and this is the pattern that I'm going to use to cut the mortise. Now, if I measure this right here between this surface right here, the pattern, and the top of this router bit, it's about 7/16. Alright? So if we come up here to the board, I want to subtract 1/4 of an inch out of that because I want the mortise for this hinge right here, I want it to be 1/4 of an inch. And that is this measurement right here. The width of this hinge that's spread out like this. It's 1/4 of an inch. So I've got to come up here and make this into 16ths. How do you find that real fast? Look on your tape measure. And you want to find out how many 16ths 1/4 of an inch is. You find out that it's 8/16ths, or let's see, wait, 4/16ths. So this would be 4/16ths. 7/16. I want to take 4 minus 7, 3, 6. Now I've got to somehow find a piece of board that is 3/16 in thickness. Okay, well, I made this one on top here out of this material. It's about a quarter of an inch, and then I made it a little bit small so that I can use this bottom pattern down here to cut this top one. So we'll see how that works. And right now I'm going to clamp this together and put a couple screws in. Now I'm going to put a little Gorilla Glue on there.